what was really interesting this morning was hearing about, James and Kevin were just talking about one of the biggest challenges you guys have got is how do you attract new members? And, Jess and I have worked together for nearly 20 years. She's my sort of work wife. And what we're going to take you through is some of the principles that we've learnt together, that we've developed as an agency, that try and give you competitive advantage in the creative world. And we work with lots of different brands, from Nando's to Lego to Red Bull, Under Armour, international well-renowned brands. And this presentation, most of you are sat there going, this has nothing to do with me. I don't work in marketing. I work in finance. I'm in sales. I'm in asset management. But what I'd ask you to do is try and think of one thing that you can take away today that will affect change in your business. Because in every market, and we've worked in every market you can think of, there is someone called a challenger. There is someone who disrupts the market, and it could be a WeWork, it could be whoever, in every category. And everyone during these presentations sits there in the main and says, we can't do that. No, that wouldn't work for us. Yet along comes an upstart, disrupts the category, and then everyone's chasing. And for me, this isn't about just external, what you tell your customers, but think about how you run your business internally. Think about your culture and think about your brand. Because it isn't about your logo, it's about how you behave and what you stand for. And it's not a slide with a mission statement, with some values that you've probably all got that don't mean anything. It's about how you behave and how you feel. And if you feel something, then marketeers are doing a good job. Because marketing is no longer about making people buy things that they don't want or what they don't need. It's about giving customers what they want. So if you've sat with marketeers and you'll go, we need to disrupt, we need to interrupt, we need to challenge, FC UK off, to be honest. Because no one wants to be interrupted, no one wants to be disrupted. We're in a time-poor world. What you need to do is get people to say thank you. And if you think about that, if people are saying thank you, not why are you interrupting me, why are you disrupting me, then you'll begin to have a connection. But emotion isn't enough. And we've all got, how many people here have got an Apple phone? Not the best phone on the market. Yet we all buy it. Why? Because emotion says something. And the products are not the best products in the marketplace. And you'll all sit there bitching about competitors who are doing better than you, who've got the worst product. But emotion is not enough. Product is not enough either. You've got to combine a number of things. And the sum of the parts is what makes a difference. You can't just make an emotional connection. You actually need to make an emotional difference. Are you making an emotional difference to your clients, to the people who rent your offices, to your staff, or is it just a transaction? And if you're not making an emotional difference today, then your competitor is. So everyone talks about Google and Facebook, Airbnb, etc., etc. But if you think about what they're trying to do for their staff, they want to make an emotional difference to them. They want them to love Google as much as they love their family. And you could argue it's enlightened self-interest. You could argue, I'm a cynic, I'm in marketing, I always have been. But today, we believe that brands who make an emotional difference to the people around them will succeed, and the stats are proving it.
This piece of work is from the IPA, the Institute of Practitioners of Advertising, and they did a huge study, and there's been a few very famous books in our world, things like in the marketing in the era of accountability. What the authors here did was they looked at about 1,000 case studies of effectiveness campaigns and really started to understand as why were they effective. Was it because they were this beautiful ad campaign, really emotional, tugging at your heartstrings, or was it because they were just shouting out price, 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 come and buy us? And overall, out of all of the 1,000 campaigns over about a 10-year period, it actually proved that it was really the emotional effectiveness that actually affected your long-term business metrics, even with price sensitivity. So it's not just about doing some sort of Iceland ad that tells you how much it is. It's about actually doing something that's longer term. Now, I'm not producing advertising campaigns, I'm not saying that you guys are, but it's about the principles of what you're talking about. Price, everybody wants to have a good price, but that's not really why you're going to remember. That's not really why you're going to have an emotional connection. And it doesn't matter what sector of the market we're in, price becomes just one basis. It's the emotion that we're looking at.
I'll go back to the beginning. If you can think of how you can do one thing differently, then we'll have made a difference. And the emotional connection that you need to make with your customers, with your staff, is going to be the emotional difference that you make, and that will set you apart. And I think, Richard said he doesn't have a trouble sleeping. I think it's because the valuation was 2.5 billion, but I think if Matt's here from WeWork, he's definitely horizontal because he was at 40 billion valuation. But the majority of us are trying to make commercial returns, and we're trying to find our competitive advantage. And that comes from the emotion that you can drive to your customers and to your staff. And it's more than just a logo. And it's more than just a sales flyer. It's actually how you behave, how you drive your business, and that's the difference that you'll make to your bottom line.